we are live now.
We are live? Alright. Hey there, multiverse, coming at you with a brand new mic. That's Derek.
This is Derek. That's Chord. Yeah, that's Chord.
We're trying out some new things here. And this is According to Chord.
I just have to say, this isn't a brand new mic.
Well, it's a brand new mic for the show.
Yeah. I'm real bitter that we didn't use this mic last time we recorded.
It'll be fine. Alright. Well, that's Derek. This is Chord. This is According to Chord. Derek's going to read off a list of topics, and I'm going to rant about them for a bit.
Yeah,
if I could articulate.
Right before we jump into that, though, I need to talk about something.
Hit it.
Last Guardian got pushed back to December.
Someone's a little sore.
For anybody that heard our first podcast, you know how upset I am about Final Fantasy, and Last Guardian is in the same boat. They're just getting my hopes up and then crushing me.
Just crushing it.
They're just crushing. They're crushing me. They're not crushing it. That's something people say when people are doing good.
I would, and again, I maintain I would rather they take their time and do the best job possible.
Yeah, sure, whatever. It's been fucking 10 years. Take your time. They've taken their time.
All right, well, let's get to it. Hit me.
All right, so let's start off today talking about MMOs.
Just MMOs in general.
Yeah, just MMOs in general. What are your thoughts, your preferences?
Well, it's the same issue we're running into with MOBAs. There's the one MMO. That's what everyone thinks about when they think about an MMO. They think World of Warcraft. And I'm getting awfully sick of the idea that everything has to emulate that, either on a free-to-play model or on the paid-for-subscription model, or all of that. I'm getting real sick of that gameplay being so predominant and what everybody flocks to when they think of an MMO. Guys, all an MMO is a large, persistent world where everybody is. That's it. Like it being fantasy, it working all of its stuff off of cooldowns, stuff like that. Let's move past that. And that's where the definition ends. This isn't the MOBA. This is not complicated. This is not hard to call yourself an MMO at all. There are, as long as it's a persistent universe where everyone inhabits it, at least to a large amount, massively, multiplayer, and online. Those are the three units you're dealing with. Now, MMORPG, that's its own subsections. There's MMOFPS, there's MMO...
Wait. MMOFPS?
Yes.
Can you name one of those?
PlanetSide 2.
Okay. I just couldn't think of one.
Just off the top of my head.
Yeah, good job.
I would even say that Destiny is a little bit of an MMO.
Do you remember that game Mag?
Mag, yes.
I actually loved that game.
And the unlock systems and stuff in Dust, I would even consider a MMO FPS because it had the persistence of all the unlocks and the relations. Alive? Dust got killed on the PS4, but I hear they're bringing it back on the PC, which I'm excited for because Eve's about to go free.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Eve's about to go free, and I'm psyched to try it out finally because I can't stand the monthly subscription model.
Yeah. I subscribe to... I have subscribed to a few MMOs in the past. When Final Fantasy 11 was subscription, Phantasy Star Online, and right now I'm subscribed to Final Fantasy 14. But with Eve, I could never subscribe to it just because I could never find a free trial or anything like that.
Well, it's also such a time sink.
Yeah, and that's what I heard.
Thing to learn.
Everyone online just talks about how much of your time it takes. So between the fact that I couldn't try it to see if I liked it,
it's a positive thing.
Yeah, but the fact that I couldn't try it to see if I liked it, I never shelled out the money for it.
Although I do love how every giant world-changing battle that happens in it, people translate the worth of everything that was lost and destroyed into real-world dollars.
I know.
Makes it sink so hard.
It's awesome. It's amazing.
I can't wait to try Eve, but more specifically, I can't wait for Eve to go free and Dust to release on the PC, because Eve has that relation to Dust, that stuff that happens in Eve affects Dust and vice versa, and not in a, what was that show? The show / game.
Crap.
I actually liked it, and I can't remember what it was.
I was just talking about this last week. Not on the podcast, but just between us.
Anyway, but it's not like one of those where it's like something happens in the show and it might minorly affect something in the game, or something happens in the game and they tie it into the show. I mean, literally in their design... Defiance. Literally in their design for Eve's relationship to Dust is there's a ship that can go above a planet and shoot lasers down and affect a Dust game. Now, with Eve's interface, it's a little clunky, and all Dust recognizes is that a laser strike hits somewhere in the map. And on Eve, all you're doing is contributing a laser strike to the ground battle, and it just sends information across the servers. But that's still really cool.
That is.
And an awesome relation, but I wish they dive a little deeper into that, where to the point of, I want the only way I can get to a fighting ground in Dust is on somebody's Eve ship.
See, while that'd be really cool, I think that then the games would rely too heavily on each other, where if one game started to die off, then it would affect the other game negatively.
Well, you could always do fixes down the road to, like, rectify that, and it's like, hey, nobody's playing Eve anymore, but everyone's playing Dust, so
that
we'll go
would
ahead
never
and fix
happen.
some stuff. Well, you don't know.
That's true.
But, yeah, so, guys, MMOs are not just World of Warcraft. There's so much out there. And a word to the designers. Stop designing your shit like World of Warcraft, because quite frankly, except for its lore, it's boring as fuck, except for the end game. And I'm also getting... Oh, you know what? All right, let's talk about grinding for half a second, shall we? Let's add this to the list.
Okay.
I am so sick of grinding in MMOs. I hate the phrase. I hate the phrase. Yeah, you gotta go through some grinding, but the end level stuff is worth it. I hate that. And I get the idea that, like, MMO players will put forward...
I think I might have said that to you before.
Yeah.
Like, that might have came out of my mouth before.
Maybe. And I can get the idea behind the idea of, well, the grind teaches you all the intricacies of the game, so you're prepared for endgame. Your game is designed badly if it takes you 100 hours to understand your game. Now, 100 hours to master your game... Okay, I can understand that. But to the ability to be able to run endgame content should not take you an obscene amount of time. It's a time sink for money, is all it is. And we're getting past that, especially with free-to-play models that rely a little bit more on people buying aesthetic shit for real money, while all the gameplay stuff is kind of available to all and not pay for win, then... we could design these so not necessarily that the grind is gone, but the grind is fun. The grind is as fun as the end game content, even though the end game content can still be up and beyond, you know, the wildest dream. Like, I don't mind the idea of World of Warcraft's end content being designed the way it is. I want all of the shit leading up to it to actually be interesting, though, because I can't stick around for it.
See, I can understand that. I do know that some people would argue that it is interesting. I know Chad, our roommate, he really likes the quests leading up to endgame in World of Warcraft. He actually really enjoys the leveling process. Now, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not even a big fan of World of Warcraft, to be honest.
Well, I feel like that stuff should be fun on its own. Like, you want to go do the quests because the quests are fun.
Not because you have to.
Not because you have to. And, like, I think some people, like, maybe not specifically Chad, but, like, some other people have, like, this almost Stockholm syndrome where it's like, this is what I'm used to, I know how this works, and I don't want to learn a new thing.
Right.
So I hate the idea of it changing at all. Like, I really feel like if Well, also, the gameplay is starting to piss me off, too, with some MMOs. I hate universal cooldown. I hate it. Especially if you have it tied with a mana system. There are too many interlocking systems at some point. Don't get me wrong, I love complexity. But here's how complex a universal cooldown system needs to get. You use abilities, and maybe they even apply to a counter. Like your active cooldown counter. If you spam your little ability a bunch, you probably won't ever reach your natural, like, universal cooldown marker. Like, let's say that ticks away over a certain amount of time, and you're basically working off a heat build system, essentially, or a mana build, or something like that.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you use an ability and attributes points to this overcharge meter that ticks down over time, so you can spam your little ability all damn day, and it doesn't really matter. But you use your bigger, more game-affecting abilities, and it does contribute to that charge the most, and if you hit the top, everything goes on cooldown for a flat minimal time, and then everything's available again after that, just to leave you vulnerable and open if you nuke. But I hate the idea that I use X amount of abilities in a certain amount of time from a limited pool of resources, mana, and then I have to worry about universal cooldown.
Right.
Mass Effect 2 and 3 had universal cooldown. 3 a lot more than 2. But anytime you used any ability, all of your abilities went on the cooldown for that ability. Mm-hmm. And I have to say I didn't like it, but they had that exact system set up that any abilities that used charges didn't incur a cooldown. So you could just sit there and throw grenades for fucking days.
Yeah.
But anytime you used your ability that was on a cooldown, it caused all your stuff to cool down. Which was fair, and you could get around it, and it even created interesting combos of just like, well, I can get this ability all the way down to here, so it's like a 1 second cooldown, but that one's like a 5 second cooldown. So my combo then becomes the 1 second cooldown, then the 5 second cooldown. Mm. And, all of that. And then passive turn toggle abilities became even more powerful. But again, the main point of this is I'm getting sick of World of Warcraft being the main model, when quite frankly, it's not even an interesting model to base it off of.
Ooh, fucking got him. Well, I'm sure, considering that World of Warcraft is one of the most subscribed MMOs even now, after it's as old as it is, I'm sure you get a lot of arguments on that.
I'm not saying that it's not fun, but it's essentially remained gameplay static all of these years, even though they've added content on top of it. I'm not saying that there isn't plenty of fun stuff to do. I'm not saying even that people can't enjoy it. And I'm not even saying that I haven't gone back to it every now and then, like the second it became free for the first 20 levels. But it could be so much more if they were willing to change.
I can see that.
And Blizzard's kind of in the position to do that. A lot of smaller studios can't take that risk. Mm-hmm. And I'm not even saying change the game permanently for everyone. Make an opt-in test program. Say, hey guys, we completely changed how World of Warcraft plays. Here's the invite to all of our top players.
But why
and
would
a lot
they
of our
change
bottom
something
players.
that's working?
Huh?
Why would they change something?
Because I don't feel like it's sustainable.
Why? It's been sustainable for the past...
They've been talking for like the past
many years?
3 or 4 years about going free to play. Because they're like people keep dropping off. You remember that whole vanilla servers fiasco?
No.
There was like a couple somebody took Vanilla WoW and set up vanilla servers.
Okay.
Vanilla WoW. And there was like, I forget how many. I want to say it was like
I did hear
tens
about this,
of that
actually.
to hundreds of thousands.
I'm pretty
of
sure it
people.
was about 100,000 players.
Yeah, about 100,000 players were all on board and doing it, and Blizzard had to shut them down. I'm not judging Blizzard for it. Protecting your IPs is a really finicky business, especially with games.
I don't know. I
wish they had done something else other than just straight shutting them down. Maybe even sponsoring those.
Yeah, like clearly they have a player base that wants to play Vanilla WoW.
Yeah.
So they should have been like, you guys have a good thing going here. Now, you can't do this without our input, but here, we're going to let you do this under these terms and agreements, or something like that. Well,
then you also run into the situation of splitting your player base.
I'm sure that
That's all those accounts that could be playing regular WoW.
But do all those accounts want to play regular WoW?
And it also brings up the debate of if you bought WoW at the beginning of Vanilla WoW, are you or are you not entitled to what you paid for originally? This is what I bought at the beginning. I want to play this.
I don't think you're entitled to that.
It's a sticky situation.
I can see both sides of the coin, but when you buy an MMO, you should be aware that the game will undergo changes and patches, and it won't always be the same game. And eventually the game will be shut down. Mm-hmm. Eventually you will have paid for a game that is no longer even existing.
And I think everybody recognizes that, but then they got this little glimpse of how easy it is to get that original product they had and want it.
And that I also understand. And if Blizzard has a big enough fan base for that original product, I think Blizzard should find a way to appeal to that fan base.
But then you also split your company resources, where you have all of these testers and creators and stuff like that fixing bugs and exploits in the new version with the new content. You also have to dedicate resources to fixing that old one and supporting it. Unless in the UELA and stuff like that they signed for Vanilla WoW, they agree that this game will not be patched or anything like that, like new WoW. But then you still got to deal with like customer support issues, especially if they're paying money to be on the servers. What do you do about hackers? You got to dedicate resources to that. Basically, it's instead of having all the resources put together to manage one game, you now have to manage 2 full-fledged MMOs.
I mean, let's be real here. They're already...
I'm kind of playing devil's advocate here,
I know. But they're already managing 5 games. Or is it 6? It's 5 or 6 games. Diablo 3, StarCraft 2,
yeah.
Overwatch, Heroes of the Storm, World of Warcraft.
Well, then, yeah, just throw another baby on the drowning man.
And like... So I'm pretty sure another copy of a game that they already have, and not just a copy, an earlier version of a game they've already made. So a game that they're already aware of how it works and how it needs to be balanced, and something that's already existed, just coming back into existence. I don't think it's going to require the amount of resources that you think it's going to require. But even the...
Well, I'm going from a position of I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I have no idea.
To be
how
fair,
much
I actually don't know either. To be completely fair, but I would imagine it wouldn't be anything outrageous that Blizzard can't handle with how much money and how much staff they already have. And if they had to add a few members of staff in order to get a few 100,000 players playing their newly released old version of World of Warcraft,
that's also a weird concept. How's the internet going to take and run with that? Like, how is that going to... Well, because here's the thing. Anytime Blizzard does anything, it does kind of shake the ground of the gaming community at large. Anytime World of Warcraft releases a new expansion or a new mechanic or builds something, all the other MMOs that are released go to, like, resting XP. Do you remember all that? How that wasn't really a thing until World of Warcraft figured it out and did it?
Resting XP was started in World of Warcraft?
From what I remember, yeah.
Huh.
Don't quote me. There was probably examples of it beforehand, but the second resting XP showed up in World of Warcraft, everyone started fucking doing it.
Yeah, well,
to the point of resting
XP, they heavily borrow ideas from World of Warcraft for their MMOs constantly. But I mean, there's nothing. I find nothing wrong with borrowing from a successful franchise because,
you see, but then what games are now going to be released as their original versions that we then have to pay for again? For the not new content and splitting the player base.
I don't think a lot of games have demand for that, is the thing. I think World of Warcraft is a rare case.
I think somebody restarted EverQuest servers, like on their own.
I could see people getting
it's already
that.
happened with Knights of the Old Republic. Somebody created legacy servers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for the pre-patch.
Actually, I'm pretty sure somebody's done that with Final Fantasy 11 as well.
Yeah, so legacy servers already exist, so I don't really see why there isn't more of a demand for that. So I'm kind of curious to see what Blizzard's going to do after. I won't say Overwatch dies. I doubt that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But calms down a bit, and they start looking towards refreshing again, because they do that all the time. They're like, hey, we released a new game. A couple of months later, hey, we released an update for one of our older games.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, we released a new game.
I remember, I've had StarCraft 2 forever, since like Wings of Liberty came out. And then...
didn't one come out new?
Heart of the Swarm came out a while back, and I didn't buy it then. And then Legacy of the Void just came out earlier this year. And I haven't touched StarCraft 2 in years, like 2 or 3. And then that new expansion came out, and I played like 100 hours of StarCraft 2.
Yeah.
Blizzard's really good at updating their old content to make people want to play it again. It works on me, for sure.
Yeah. Alright, so that's all I really got on MMOs. I'm tired of everyone copying World of Warcraft, and I want new, better content, and I think everybody needs to drop the idea of what they think of as an MMO and start adopting a bit more of an open idea of it.
While we're on the topic of Blizzard, though, I have another Blizzard topic on my list, so I figure we'll just get right into that one, so we can just get Blizzard all out of the way. I have Overwatch on my list. I wanted to know your opinions and thoughts on Overwatch.
I like it. It's fun. I imagine that it's going to pop into our conversations every now and then, so I don't really feel a need to cover it exclusively.
Like my most played game right now.
Yeah. I definitely play more casual than anything else. I'll play with my friends if they're on. Weirdly enough, the main thing I want out of Overwatch at this point is maybe the thing they didn't design it for, but I want a campaign. Now,
do you?
I realize and acknowledge and support the idea that anytime a game comes out and says, we're just going to be doing multiplayer, I applaud. It's like, you guys are doing your focus. I understand. Hell, I'll even still pay $60 for it as long as it's 100% this is what you're focusing on and make it perfect.
Right.
But the world of Overwatch is so rich and involved.
And their cutscenes that they've been releasing are actually really good.
Well, if that's all you're focusing on is the cutscenes instead of like having to deal with like melding the story into the game and stuff like that, you could do that really a lot easier. But like like that section that in the training video, whenever you started playing as Soldier 76 and Tracer's in front of you and doing like animation stuff like that and doing stuff around, I was like, this is not that bad of a gameplay model for like short burst story heavy campaign missions.
Wouldn't that be pretty cool actually if Overwatch had kind of like a co-op campaign mode?
Yeah.
Like, because then it could still keep its multiplayer premise, but
all the interlocking mechanics and stuff.
Yeah, but it would just be a co-op campaign mode.
Or like, what if they set up specific scenarios for like the old wars and stuff like that about the Omnitrix?
That would be really
and it
cool.
would be
They'd be like challenges.
Yeah, well, like, yeah, during this mission, you're playing as Mercy, and you have to keep Reinhardt alive during the Siege of Bleu. And, you know, all of that. And you get to have all these cool interlocking moments and all of that.
That at first, when I won't lie, at first when you started talking about the campaign, I wasn't on board. I was ready to trash that idea.
Yeah.
But the more I think about it, the more I like this idea.
Yeah, like just story heavy
like
challenges.
Yeah, like
almost.
we don't need like a single player campaign or like an 8-hour long like hallway campaign.
Yeah.
But just like these challenges that could or could not be co-op depending. Like, that's actually a really cool idea.
Yeah, and I like it designed in such a way that the story's just happening naturally with stuff that's going on, and every challenge is designed in a way to tell a specific kind of story. Like, there might be, like, a hallway shooter type of deal where you're Soldier 76 and, because they would redo the skins, you're Captain Morrison and, what was Reaper's name originally?
I don't know.
You're Reaper before he was Reaper, and you are going through kind of a standard story hallway shooter with like Omnicron everywhere and stuff like that, but they're talking the whole time, and this is a point where they don't like each other, and they talk about Blackwatch, and they talk about like what Overwatch has really been doing, and you know, like whether or not it's ethical, keeping stuff a little bit vague and gray area, but still like Captain Morrison still believing 100% in what he's doing and recognizing that Blackwatch is a unfortunate necessity to do the right thing. And, you know, and maybe Reyes, that's his name. And Reyes going, well, I've been in Blackwatch. I've done some terrible things in the name of good, and I'm starting to actually question whether or not this is good. And you go through all of that, and yeah, it's a little bit of a hallway shootery, but the thing that you're there for is learning how to play Reaper with this scenario built to exemplify Reaper's strengths and Soldier 76's strengths in this whole battle space as they're moving forward toward an objective or whatever, and the interlocking gameplay between them. And you can, or like if you want a little bit more of an open thing, I think it'd be great if it did just drop 4 players in the middle of a map and say there are 4 objectives that you not only need to locate, but you know, interact in X such ways to deal with them. Do this, and as they're walking through the environment, characters will point out things and start conversations, and you get the story behind it, and all of that. Like, I would think it'd be really kind of cool if you dropped in one of the more open-ended multiplayer maps, could maybe a little bit more expanded and connected, and you're just given find a thing, but it's nowhere on your marker or anything like that. So as characters are walking through environments, they start like talking about clues that they see in the room. It's like, hey, all of these panels are broken. It's possible we have a blah in here. And then later you fight a blah. And all of that. Like, I don't want... Like I don't want a hallway shooter. I don't want something like that.
I don't want that at all.
But I do want story in the game, because this universe is so rich and detailed. I don't want to just experience it through comics and
CGI
and all of those. I actually want to see it in the game too.
Yeah.
And I don't think it would be that incredibly hard.
Yeah, probably not. And I actually think that this whole co-op campaign challenge thing is something that Blizzard could end up actually doing if they think of it and they think it's worthy of their time. I could see it kind of coming out with as an expansion or something too.
Yeah.
Which I'd
pay for that.
I'd be happy to pay for that, yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm not going to pay for loot boxes, honestly.
I'm sad to admit that Overwatch's first week of coming out, I did spend $10 on loot boxes.
I don't judge you. It's how they're going to make their money. It's also how you can support the game.
Yeah.
I'm just personally not big on the loot box thing.
Well, I stopped buying loot boxes after that because you buy the loot boxes, then you're just like, oh, I got a bunch of sprays. Cool.
Well, if it was the only way I interacted with the game with my money, then I probably would buy a fuck ton of loot boxes.
If the game was free to play?
Yeah.
They would have to have a different model. The loot boxes wouldn't be enough.
Well, I mean, I'd spend $60 on loot boxes, because you get a fuck ton of shit for that.
See, if the game was free to play, I still want to spend $60 on loot boxes.
Well, it's because, I always imagine I'm paying $60 on this game. I'm not spending $60 on the loot boxes.
See, I wish I could think of it that way, but I can't.
Which is fair enough. But I've already spent $60 on the game.
Did you buy the Origins edition?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I can't think of it that way.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. I have an idea for a new character class, and it's a little stupid, but I totally want to see it as a thing.
Yeah?
Those training bots
my God.
from the training area.
No.
I want one of those to be a
That's
character.
awful.
That's hilarious.
I hate it.
I want it.
What would it do besides die?
Summon more training bots.
Oh my God. What if you were the guy that built the training bots?
And then you could do more
training bots? And you would
bots.
be able to summon the training
I think that's just Torbjorn.
No. Oh, alright. Well, like, it would be like a mix of Symmetra and Torbjorn, because he could summon more than one.
Maybe more than one type. Like, there's the station. Like, what if he didn't have a gun? This is literally just how he did his damage. Is he summoned one of them to follow him. He could place a stationary one, and he could do, like, one on, like, a circular patrol mission thing. And a fourth one that's a suicide bomber, which is his ult.
That's what I was gonna say. It's a suicide bomber. And you would control it, like, it would show him pull out, like, what game controller looking thing with the screen in the middle, like almost like a Wii U pad.
It's invisible.
No, that's OP. Invisible suicide bomber.
Maybe it doesn't do like full kill damage, but it does heavy damage ignoring armor values.
I would rather have people be able to see it and it does killing damage.
We see, but then we just have Riptire again.
You're right. Then it'd be Junkrat's ult.
And that's not too terribly interesting. And that's not frightening. Like, that's legitimate. Like, it would make a sound. It might even make a as it flies through like the air, and everyone's like, "Oh God, where is it? Oh God, where is it?" What if it's just like a little drone that flies? It's like a mini version.
Oh yeah, it's like super tiny.
Yeah.
What if people can see it, but it's super tiny?
Oh, dude, I just figured out the gameplay mechanic of like how he would shoot. If you hit left trigger, the bot that's following him constantly shoots in the direction of your reticle.
I'm gonna assume on keyboard and mouse that'd be left click.
Yeah, left click.
Okay. On
right click, the stationary one will stop doing what it's doing and fire in that direction as well.
Oh my God.
It's going doom, doom, doom,
that
doom,
would be,
doom, doom.
That's a whole new idea, kinda. That's really cool. So you set up two of them, and then you...
Well, one of them's always following you, and it's essentially your quote-unquote gun, but maybe, like, after you summon it, like, resummoning it gives it orders instead, like, stay here, or follow me, or go there.
That's a really cool idea,
or
actually.
Go to where I'm pointing, and if you look at an area where you're where you have the little reticle anyway, and then you hit the button again, it's follow me.
I feel like a character like that would have a really high skill cap, though.
Okay. It's like that.
We probably need more of those in Overwatch.
Well, how many abilities we have? We have the first.
We have the
resummon your primary fire, essentially, which would be your one. What if you could summon up to 2 of them, but they require scrap? Oh, dude, who was that guy that Torbjorn killed on, he was in a giant,
Are you talking
mech?
about in the comic?
Yeah, in the comic.
I haven't read that comic.
That guy! No, you can still work it into fiction. He's working for Talon.
It seems like a good idea. They Blizzard. This one's for free.
Yeah. Baby, call me. So his one would be summoning his primary robots, and he can summon up to 2 of them. But the first one's free, the second one requires scrap. But they're tied to his left trigger, they shoot whatever direction that he is currently pointing at. His second would be the stationary bot, which is free. And he could summon 2 of them, the second one requiring scrap.
Yeah.
His, we didn't think about his 3, but his 4, his ult would be the controllable small version that is invisible and blows up in people's faces. Ignoring armor mitigation is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Ooh, what if it bypassed shields?
There we go. That could make it a bit different, too.
Because then for the heavily shielded characters, it kills them. So get rid of the non-armor reduction thing. Just have it ignore shields.
That'd probably be good. That might be too good, though.
Well, no, it explodes. It shows up in the air, lets out an EMP burst. Then you have 1 or 2 seconds before, in a decent area but not too large, it then explodes.
So EMP then explode?
Yes.
And
that's his ult.
That'd be really cool. I'm trying to decide if I think it's overpowered or not.
Well, for shielded characters it sucks, but for heavy armor characters...
They're just okay.
Well, it still deals damage, and it would fuck up a Reinhardt shield.
Yeah.
So it has just straight up utility, some damage, and is absolutely lethal to certain characters.
That's true. Huh. Alright, Blizzard. Do it.
What would his 3 be?
Is there...
Something involving robots.
Why are you saying 3?
Because there's first ability, second ability, third ability, fourth ability.
4 abilities?
Yeah, there's 4 abilities.
Are you sure about that?
Well, let's model it. Let's think of all Tracer's ability. First ability is blank. Second ability is rewind time. Third ability is
her ult.
Is her ult.
That's it.
Oh, am I still thinking of it in terms of 4?
Yeah, I don't know why you're thinking about 4. Most characters only have 3. I'm pretty sure every character only has 3 abilities. 1, 2,
3. Yeah. 3.
Yeah.
So there we go. We're done.
Yeah. I was confused when you said that the first time, but I was like, I must be wrong.
Yeah, and it's just the robots from the range, probably modified a little bit to look a little different between the types. But still, I mean, even if they just made the training bots playable, and here's the thing: I'd even be fine if the characterization is one of those bots just got infected by one of the Omicron AIs that were going in through the war. Became semi-sentient and started making more of those bots.
Maybe way later down the line. Way later. They're out of ideas. They can make a training bot a character.
Hey! You liked this a couple minutes ago.
I like the character that makes the training bots. That I'm still on board with, 100%. But actually playing as a training bot, that's way out there.
Well, if you look at their damage values, they're not that bad.
Oh, yeah,
them shooting you?
Yeah, I guess. But they also move slow as hell. And they have 100 HP or 150 HP.
Yours has all of that as armor.
No.
There we go.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it, honestly. I don't like it. I love the first guy we thought of. I don't like this training bot guy.
Well, the first one was the training bot.
The first one's a guy that makes training bots. That's awesome.
And he's already tied into the lore.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's my problem with the training bot. Is there's so many cool characters that they could come up with this universe. Yeah. If they just released a fucking training bot, I'd be disappointed.
Well, the training bot wouldn't be the character. It'd be you'd be playing as one of the omniscient, all-powerful Omnicron AI. And the idea is you're not playing... Oh, dude... What if when you die, if you have a robot that's functioning, you transfer to it?
I like that, though. I really like that, though. It'd be kind of it would only count as a partial death. You have really low health, and it only counts as 0.25 of a death, like Murky in Heroes of the Storm.
Or it just works like Diva.
Oh yeah.
All the robots are relatively weak and can die quickly, but as long as you do your job and deploy them in little corners and stuff like that, you can keep getting back on the point and stuff like that.
Oh my god, that's such a cool idea.
And I think it'd actually be really kind of funny if there was a juxtaposition between the robot voice and the Omnicron AI voice.
Yeah.
Where it was like, the robot voice is like, you can even make it really, like, cutesily depressing, where it's like, I'm sorry, I don't want to kill you, it's making me. Or just, like, maybe a funnier version of that, where it's funny on the surface, but it's really dark when you think about it. And then you have this deep, rolling, like unknowable voice that's just, like, pretty much any, like, high-powered alien from any given fantasy setting, where it's just, like, really deep and rumbling and like I am the night kind of shit. Like almost like Reaper, but super goddamn tinny.
Right. It's not bad. I like it.
Or every now and then it just screams in binary bits.
Is that how binary sounds to you?
I have no idea. Well, I'm just imagining you have a on and an off tone, and then you just carry that through in rapid succession to create the dialogue for this character.
Oh, God.
For the Omnicron AI. Oh, dude. No, never mind.
Okay.
But, yeah. There we go. We just designed an Overwatch character.
There you go, Blizzard.
Let's make it happen.
Blizzard, do it.
Call me.
I like it. Do you want to move on?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
What's next?
Mobile games.
I just realized at the beginning I said, oh, nah, I don't really have that much to say about Overwatch. I mean, it'll come up throughout, so I don't think we need to focus on it. How long did we just spend on Overwatch alone?
I think like 17 minutes.
Like close to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like most of the episode.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're at 36 minutes already.
Alright, what's next? Mobile games?
Mobile games.
It's not their fault. It's not their fault. The games don't want to be the way they are.
I don't think the games have wants, Chord.
It's so depressing. It's like whenever you see some kid in juvie that just didn't have a chance. It's like, oh, his life's been beyond shitty, and there's nothing we can do about it. He will be a career criminal. That's kind of how mobile games are right now. A lot of them are cash grabs, and the free-to-play model is getting abused quite often these days. And it's really getting on my nerves because I just want Game Boy games on my phone. That's all these need to be. I will pay full Game Boy price to just be able to download the newest Pokemon onto my goddamn phone and play it. I understand that the free-to-play model is not only easier to develop for, but to build for. And one of the things about it is whenever a free-to-play game comes out, especially on mobile, it doesn't have to have all of the content that the final version will have, because you don't want people just blowing through the game, not having a reason to spend any money on it, and moving on.
Right.
And there are good games that supersede this, and there are emulators, I am aware of that, but I always try to do things legitimately when I can. And if there was the option to just buy the games I like from maybe even older systems, I would 100%. Because my phone can run them. And
That's true.
And I want to do it legitimate. And I want to do it in such a way that's designed to be intuitive for mobile devices. Because with the touch interface, it's kind of weird. Or even like, use it with this type of controller. But I have high hopes for mobile games. I mean, I do so much on my phone already, and I have games on my phone, and they're really good games for it. Like, if a game is designed from the bottom up to be a mobile game,
that doesn't necessarily make it good.
It doesn't make it good, but it gives it a better chance of being good.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna go ahead.
Don't name a bad game. Don't do it.
Badland.
I don't know what that is.
It's kind of a limbo-ish thing, but the whole interaction with it is you tap it. So, let me turn that down. It's quite beautiful. It's one of those simple but good games. So the whole thing is, sorry, you guys aren't going to be able to see this, but I'm going to show Derek really quick. There's the ads. But here's
Oh, yeah, there we go, ads.
Yeah.
There's problem number one with mobile games.
Here's the thing. I would much rather have ads on my game and get a good free game than have to pay for it. It be bad.
See, I know that there's a lot of people that would agree with you on that.
If I'm getting my content for free, I'll watch a fucking ad. I don't care.
I know there's a lot of people that would agree with you on that, but I'm not going to be one of the people. If I see an ad on a game, it instantly just makes me not want to play it. I would legitimately have just deleted an app.
So, this is your whole interaction with it. You do that. It's kind of Flappy Bird-esque in a way. You do that to move forward, and there's, hazards and stuff throughout it. And there are power-ups and stuff you can pick. Oh. There you go. But you see how kind of the limbo experience to it?
Yeah.
Levels are longer than that. I was near an end of one.
Right.
But, this is very obviously built straight up just for, and with a decent amount of heart, for this game. And see, I just picked up a whole bunch of little guys.
Okay, yeah, no, this game actually, it looks really nice. The art style is really nice. It doesn't look copy and pasted.
Yeah, it's called Badland.
Badlands.
No affiliation. But it's a good example of me to a good, casual, I'm stuck on an airplane game.
Yeah, and that's what mobile games are good for. That's what they're good for.
But I would like a little bit more meat and potatoes on my mobile experience. So the fact of the matter is, I either get bad freemium games or good distractions. I don't really get objectively good games right now on mobile, with some minor exceptions. But yeah, they usually tend to fall into those two camps. Most of the examples that I can think of that do really well on mobile are games that were on another platform before and were just very easily adaptable over to mobile. And even sometimes vice versa, to the point of some mobile games just play better and more interesting on something like PC. One of the ones of going from PC to Limbo that I thought was really successful was from PC to Limbo. I already gave it away. From PC to mobile was Limbo.
Did that go mobile?
Yeah, it's got a mobile version, and it's pretty good. And there are also some games that it's if I had a full-screen tablet and this was built for it, I would 100% want to play this game on a mobile device just out in the verse, like a FTL.
Right.
If FTL just had a pause time button, you could play it 100% just on a tablet poking everything. But it doesn't. You need a spacebar for it. But it's half a second away from being a really good mobile game. Mm-hmm. For something like a tablet. For something like a screen or like a phone, I think it'd be too small. But, yeah, that's all I really got to say about that. It's got some growing to do before mobile games actually become, to the same status of PC and console games.
Right.
But there are some pretty good notable exceptions. One of the things I want to happen with mobile games is I want controller peripherals to become a little bit more standardized and built for. Because there are games that run completely well on a mobile game that are just good, mindless fun on a PC that kind of would help scratch the itch while you're out and about. I just feel kind of bad, to get PC level content right now, you have to buy an NVIDIA Shield.
You mean if you want a mobile?
To get it like a handheld kind of thing. Don't get me wrong, I kind of want to buy an NVIDIA Shield for specifically that reason, but if we just did a little bit more standardization, I see no reason that mobile games can't kind of be you know what pisses me off about Boom Beach?
What is Boom Beach?
It's a mobile game made by the guys who made Clash of Clans, and I fucking love it. It's kind of a Command and Conquer-esque thing, where you don't necessarily give direct orders to your guys. The only way you can really tell them where to go is by using flares, and you only have a certain amount of them. And you can do artillery and stuff like that, but you build units, you send them off to go do a thing, they storm a beach, and they take over bases, right? Mm-hmm. The actual gameplay of Boom Beach is incredibly fun. All of the meta fucking ruins it.
Yeah?
The fact you have to sit there and wait for everything to build, the fact that you can only build certain things while other things aren't building. Like, you can't queue up a bunch of buildings to build at once, go to bed, and then come back and they're all built. You can only build one goddamn building at a time. And building troops can be measured in hours. Take into note that anytime you lose a troop on a beachhead, they're dead. They're gone. So it's not like, oh, I want to replace these troops with tanks, so in an hour or two, that'll be done, and then I'll just have tanks forever. No, when those guys die, it takes them, like maybe the basic troops take about 15 minutes, but it's still 15 minutes that if I have no troops because I failed a mission, I have to sit around and fucking wait. And most of the time I was topped out on resources, just waiting for a building to build, so I could build the next building, because I have too many goddamn resources. I didn't get to play the fucking game, because the game wanted me to buy gems. So, because gems are what make everything go faster. You can just finish stuff with gems. Mm-hmm. And I hate that model. The fact that I can't just physically play your game, which is all I want to do. Like, I wish there was an opt-in that I could just watch some goddamn ads. And there are some games that do this right. One of them that I like is like a zombie shooter game that was actually built in Unity. Uh-huh. And it's pretty, like, it's actually a relatively fun game, and it's designed relatively well for mobile and to play with mobile. One of the things I like it does is that you can set it so that your gun will automatically fire when you just hover over an enemy instead of having to hit a whole separate button. Which, when you only have two thumbs that are taking up your screen to work with, actually works really well. Because it's like, I was going to shoot a bitch anyway. Why not just make it a little bit easier?
That's true.
But that game has a system that if you go to a reward screen, you can literally watch a video for the currency. You can, for like the gold is actually what it is. It's money and gold. Money you get through the game and you can purchase stuff with money. Gold is how you can speed up projects and buy special shit. You can opt in to watch a video and get gold for it. You can... It's like them on Facebook. So, like, stuff that just helps them make money and get the word out and builds the community a little bit earns you that in-game currency. And that, to me, is so much better than just paying straight up out of my pocket money for it. Like, the opt-in videos probably make them a bunch of money. Yeah. Because they're opt-in voluntary videos. So it's like they can charge more for it.
Right.
I fucking love that system. Because it's as far as you want to go. And you can just pay for the gold with real money, if that's what you're into.
Yeah.
But
there's nothing wrong with having both systems prevalent.
But I also just get to play the fucking game.
Yeah.
I can just go shoot zombies. I don't have to participate in any of that. Boom Beach could have something to learn from that. Clash Royale, I like Clash Royale, because even if there's no rewards to earn, because I have all of the chests or something like that, I can just go play matches against people and just play the fucking game. And they've actually added in a system that you earn gold playing matches no matter what. So it's a really small amount. I think it's like 3 gold for a successful match or something. But it's still fucking something.
Right.
And it's to the point of, like, if you just like playing the game, you're still getting ahead, even though you don't have any gems and your crates aren't opening. I do wish there was an option to be able to, like, watch videos or something for other advertisers for that game to get gems in that game, because I would totally do that, because that earns the makers money. And I want that to happen. I want them to get money. That's why I'm fine with ads, as long as I'm getting the content for free.
Right.
And it's content I want to come back to, because they get to supply this good product to me, good balanced product to me for free, while they still earn money from advertisers that want to advertise to us.
Yeah.
I won't say it's the perfect model, but I'm going to say it's damn close, because everybody's participation in this is voluntary. It's not fucking cable, where I've paid for a service to watch my shows that you interrupt with ads that make you money.
Are you
that
bitter?
I'm paying you already.
I feel like you're bitter about this.
I'm a little bitter. I hate
wanna
cable.
talk about it?
I fucking hate cable.
Why don't you talk about
I'm
cable?
glad it's dying. I'm so glad that cable is gargling on its own juices in its coax cable and its rot itself. I hope it fucking dies.
Cable's gonna be alive until sports fans have another option.
Huh? They're getting them. You
Really?
can watch them on your fucking phone.
Yeah, on your phone.
You can get apps on Roku that are ESPN.
Getting close then.
You don't need... No, not close. We're there.
No, I mean, we're close to cable being gone.
Listen, dissidents of the world. Listen, all you mighty listeners, and heed my warnings and go forth and spread the word. Cable is no longer necessary. It doesn't have to be this way. You can get HD sports content on the internet for free or with ads, but I mean, you're paying to watch ads anyway. I hate Hulu too. Although recently they changed it, so I think you can get a free version of Hulu with ads. But
Yeah.
Hulu was doing the exact same fucking thing.
They were, and that's why I refused to support Hulu for a long time. But recently now you have a paid version without ads.
Which
And I signed up for that because then it's just like Netflix but a different selection.
well, it's all the live stuff. That's why I always wanted Hulu, because it was like TV. This comes out this day, but you could still stream it whenever you want and all of that, like HBO Go. The thing is, you can now, at this moment, pay for all of these different streaming services to get all the same content or even better quality content on anytime you want without ads.
Yep.
I fucking love that.
Right now I have a subscription to Crunchyroll, Netflix, and Hulu. And then obviously I'm subscribed to my internet, but not to cable. And I'm getting all of this together
Yeah.
for cheaper than I would get just a cable box with channels where I don't get to pick what I watch. The cable
Or
providers.
worse yet, you have to set up your DVR to play
Yeah.
and record stuff.
Yep.
So you can, instead of getting to watch and enjoy your shows, every now and then have to fast forward
through
through
the
them.
commercials. Yep.
We made a separate box to get around this. How the fuck is cable still making money off of
That's
advertisers
true.
when those boxes exist?
Yeah, like how are they still paying so much goddamn money to get that TV spot when so many cable boxes have been deactivated at this point, and the ones that aren't deactivated probably just fast forward through your commercials anyway.
Because they bundle it with internet. I'm not shitting you.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people will be going like, hey, I could get the HD stuff all to cable, and I'm paying for internet anyway, and the cable's honestly not that much. They'll do that.
Yeah.
But what I find hilarious is half the time the DVR box, or the cable box, has DVR built into it.
Yep.
What the fuck?
Every cable box nowadays.
Make the switch. Unplug the cable.
Do it.
I believe in you.
It's a great
You fine,
idea.
beautiful people.
It's a fantastic idea.
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to be honest. If Netflix offered a unpaid version where you watched ads, I might actually switch to that. Because I personally don't mind watching ads, and any chance to save money, I'll take it. But as it stands right now, it's not a lot of money to pay to have Netflix.
Yeah, no, it's like what, $10 a month, maybe
And,
cheaper.
I also have YouTube Red. It's $10 a month. I don't mind it.
I don't pay for YouTube Red just because, well, right now there's not a lot of reason to. I don't really see the point in paying for YouTube Red.
Well, it's basically, the way I look at it, it's pretty much endorsed ad blocker. Which,
Yeah.
a lot of the time, you'd end up paying for a good ad blocker
No.
anyway.
Ad blocker
I mean,
Plus is free.
Well, there are certain ad blockers, because sometimes blocker plus doesn't work.
On YouTube, it always works.
Well, on other sites.
Yeah, like Hulu.
But for those, you would pay for an ad blocker.
Right.
So in my mind, fuck it. I don't mind watching ads, but I would rather not watch them on YouTube. But I still want to support the people who are making the stuff on it. So I'll pay for YouTube Red
that's
because you
totally-
also get access to YouTube Red content. Anything that is
Yeah.
YouTube Red, you get access.
Yeah, I
to.
know. I had a free.
I have to admit, I don't really watch
No.
YouTube Red content that much.
I had a free trial
I'm
for
anxious to see
YouTube.
it grow.
I had a free trial for YouTube Red, and I saw some of like Matt Pat's on. He's like from Game Theory. I saw some of his YouTube Red content, and it was pretty good.
Well, the thing about the YouTube Red content is they get a higher, from what I believe, they get a higher content of the YouTube Red money because they're considered
That
YouTube
makes sense.
Red, and they don't run ads on YouTube Red content anyway. So that means that they're not susceptible to advertiser stuff. Like, if an advertiser wants their ads pulled from certain videos, YouTube's hands are kind of tied, and so they have to do it anyway. That's one of the reasons that, like, videos are getting pulled from monetization, is because some advertisers are like, I don't want to be associated with blank, and they're like,
yeah, I know.
Well, if
stupid,
so much as one advertiser bitches about not wanting to be on a certain kind of movie, they have to pull all the ads because it's all set. Now, here's the thing that's bugging me, and I think this is what YouTube should do. You should have adult-only content because you have to say you're an adult anyway to see it, right?
Yeah.
Have ads that are totally just for adults. like beer and tobacco and hookers and blow.
Actually, I'm pretty sure they can't advertise blow.
What?
Or hookers.
What'd I say?
Anyway, actually, that's a great idea because there's not a lot of places. Well, beer gets a lot of advertisement on cable, but as we discussed, cable's dying.
Well, like they could totally advertise on YouTube.
Yeah, take that and advertise it on YouTube. And because there's not a lot of places for them to advertise nowadays, like because they're considered adult content, if YouTube were to allow that, they could probably get like a premium price for that kind of advertising.
Yeah, well, because it's all like the kids will watch all of that and stuff like that. But then the adults get like the really like targeted like intelligent ads almost. It's like, and you could do it for stuff that's like, imagine having a moral code to your advertising department where you tell your advertising department, okay, you have to make 2 sets of ads. And this is the stuff we present to the public. So when I tell the public, we don't want to like influence or use to do bad things, only use the style of ad targeting that could be considered as negative or risque in the adult content. Don't target kids for this shit. Only focus on adult stuff. And then they could do so much more because they're not trying to sell to kids.
Right. There are problems that go along with it,
though. Oh, there are.
So, like, this isn't a perfect solution, but
it's a start.
It's a start to a pretty good idea. But going back to the whole, like, YouTube Red
I'm not
thing,
saying, like, Pornhub would get ads on it. But no, like, stuff, like, well, basically anything that you have to be over 18 to buy is automatically qualifies for the AO advertising revenue. And then you just have to like, imagine if you could start a video and like just check the monetize as AO. Like, and then the whole adult content flag system fucking dies.
I mean, the thing is, though, it's easy for a kid to see adult-only content. It's easy for a kid to make a fake profile.
Oh, yeah. But that's not our problem.
Yeah, I know.
That's not YouTube's problem. That's the parents' problem. We're not going to get into that, though. That's dicey.
Yeah, I wanted to go back to the YouTube Red thing.
To the future?
No, I want to go back to the YouTube Red thing. Because you said that you were paying for YouTube Red specifically to not watch ads and to support.
Oh, there are also some other things that channels. They work into their functionality.
Like in the app? Like
yeah,
like in the app you can close and still hear
and save offline. Although
save offline, which
you can
that feature I don't see as super useful.
I do hour-long podcasts.
Yeah,
like I do a whole Daily Planet and Rooster Teeth and all that. I save podcasts, and so when I'm just out and about, I can listen to those hour-long podcasts without using my data.
Okay, that's fair. In that case, it's probably worth it for you to have YouTube Red.
There's also the YouTube Music app that, since I have Red, I don't think I have to listen to ads on it. Although I don't know, like I have YouTube Red and then I got the music app, so I don't know whether you have to listen to ads anyway. But like, if it's making it so I don't have to listen to ads on the YouTube Music app, then yes, that as well. And like, I kind of want to support this initiative because I do like that this is an option. I do like the two options between you can watch ads and you get all of this content for free while still supporting the guys, or you pay YouTube Red and you get a bunch of functionality that we're incentivizing. And honestly, I think over time they're just going to roll out all the features of YouTube Red. They're just using it as a first adopter scenario right now. It's like in the app and stuff like that. But like, you can pay this, and it's basically like you're paying for an ad blocker, that still supports the people. Which on the surface is really good. We're giving you exactly what you want. But we're also trying to make sure that the creators and us get our ad revenue.
Right. No, I can see that. I guess when I support the creators, because I don't use ad blocker on YouTube anymore. I did for a bit, but a while ago I stopped. Like, probably about a year or so ago, I stopped using ad blocker on YouTube, just because I started heavily watching certain creators. But to support those creators even further, instead of doing YouTube Red, because then the money goes to YouTube and YouTube splits that up, I just support these individuals with their Patreons or... some of the YouTubers I watch have released books. I'll buy their books, things like that.
Which, like, I'll buy books and stuff like that. I don't necessarily like giving to Patreon. Not because I don't want to support the creators, but I am doing stuff like YouTube Red already and watching their content.
Right.
Just consuming their content is supporting them anyway. But I also don't hate the idea of supporting YouTube itself by doing that. I don't hate that idea because it's like, they set this up. They should make money for this.
Yeah.
They are a bit conglomerate, and there have been minor issues that have been popping up, but I mean,
honestly,
they're not eating babies and firing Kojima.
I mean, YouTube's definitely not the worst, and I like YouTube, I really do. But to be honest, if a new video website could pop up and allow monetization the way YouTube does, without all the corporate struggles that YouTube has been showing recently,
well, those corporate struggles are just indicative of their size.
Yeah.
And you have to admit, they've handled it better than certain people have in the past.
That's true.
Like, I mean, if you look at MySpace and how they handled all their shit.
What was wrong with MySpace? He sold it, and then it became shit, then he sold it for a bunch of fucking money, and now nobody goes there anymore, even though it still exists as a music website.
Well, that's the thing. Like, the way they were working in their music and even watching some videos and stuff like that, because that was around when YouTube was first coming out and they were trying to compete. And the way they were working all of their indicative corporate bullshit. And there were, like, artists that would not allow their stuff to be released on MySpace because of the way MySpace was treating their content and them.
Really? That was the thing?
Yeah.
Huh.
It was almost like smaller people who couldn't take the hit wouldn't do it. And it was getting, like, they got big and corporate and unreasonable, and they fell hard. So, the fact that YouTube is it's almost like YouTube and Google are super open to criticism, even though they are still a business, and every now and then they do make decisions that are a little weird. I don't feel like they're directly attacking anybody or trying to moderate the content to the point of a lot of people are accusing them right now. We're far from content blocking and manipulation and stuff. Like, and you can make a video, but you're not allowed to make money on it, use anybody else's stuff, and must say YouTube is great at least 3 times.
Yeah, we're nowhere near that.
We're nowhere near
that.
If
we got near that, I'm pretty sure a new video.
Yeah, it would just be done.
Just appear.
I almost think we're going the opposite of that. It's, YouTube trips every now and then, but I think the internet blows those tripping out of proportion compared to the, guys, you can literally just upload your racist rants if you want.
That's true.
You won't necessarily make any money.
But you can do it.
But you can do it. Like,
we don't recommend it. And we don't approve of it, but you can do it.
And that's exactly, like, what you want. Like, yeah, they may not support it. Yeah, you may not be able to make a living off of it as much as, like, PewDiePie does off of Minecraft videos. But they're not literally stifling you. They're not saying, oh, all these Ku Klux Klan videos, go the fuck away. They still exist. You can totally find them.
Yeah.
But
don't.
Well, don't give them traffic. I doubt they're monetized anyway. But they could still exist.
To an extent.
I mean, there are decency rules.
There are decency rules. But assuming that they're being as reasonable as you could be with that kind of video.
Like, if they're just like, yeah, I don't really like this.
Yeah.
And they're talking about, stuff that just kind of, like, discomforts you. But if they're not being, like, overly aggressive and threatening everyone, they're just like, yeah, I really don't like this. Here are my what I believe are rational reasons.
Yeah.
But have a good day.
Yeah, if they're polite like that, even with their...
Well, do you remember Gingers Have Souls?
I do. Gingers do have souls. I have a soul. I go to church.
I feel so bad for that kid. Because that was...
The South Park went and,
something... Well, all those internet memes got turned into a thing.
Yeah.
But that was definitely a bad day for him.
Yeah.
And he made a choice that I would not have made and decided to upload that onto the internet. And then kind of became a laughingstock for it. And I don't know what happened to him afterwards, but it can't have been good.
I don't know.
Or couldn't have been good.
I don't know.
Unless I want
to say he was on Tosh.0.
Yeah.
Wasn't he one of the people that got like a web redemption on Tosh.0?
I didn't get to watch.
I'm pretty sure he got a web redemption on Tosh.0. And if I made that video as a kid and it got me onto like Tosh.0, I don't
think you get paid to be on Tosh.0 though.
I don't know. I think you would.
I imagine Tosh would just do it because it's funny. It's like, yeah, and I give him 10K. He literally sold his likeness.
What happened to that guy anyway? Daniel Tosh. Haven't heard anything about that guy in a long time now.
I think he's dead.
I'm pretty sure he's not.
Cover his mouth and just look at his eyes. Anyway, and that's all I have to say about
that. We've talked a lot about YouTube. That wasn't even on my list.
It is now, bitch.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
This is a fun one. Controller versus keyboard and mouse.
It depends on the game.
It's as simple as that?
Yeah, it's honestly as simple as it is. Certain games are just better on keyboards. Certain games are just better on controllers. And there are games that have that nice, neat little overlap area where it doesn't necessarily matter which one you use. Although people who are better at keyboard or masters at keyboard will typically do better, especially in like first-person shooters, than people who are masters at controllers and they're in the same game. I personally like the idea of some games being controller or keyboard only. I don't necessarily like the option of them being built into it, just because, well, it goes back to splitting your player base and their skill sets, because, like I said, someone who is a master at first-person shooters with a keyboard will always be better than somebody who is a master at first-person shooters with a controller. It's just the way that they're built. But that being said, I have to say in my life I tend to prefer the controller because it's almost an evening factor. It's not hard to be good at a game that's built for a controller. There's definitely a skill gap when it comes to being good with a keyboard.
I can see that.
And the thing about controllers is controllers get X good and X expensive.
Yep.
Keyboards get exponentially better to the point of it starts getting into hardware advantage. And I cannot fucking stand hardware advantage.
I don't know. I don't know if keyboards ever really get into hardware advantage. I mean,
the difference between a $20 and a $100 keyboard.
I mean, yeah, the difference between like a mechanical keyboard and then, like the keyboards you use.
Fuck you. My keyboards are fine.
Your keyboards are like don't you have a keyboard that like folds?
No.
Okay.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Like a Bluetooth keyboard that folds?
I have two Bluetooth keyboards. I have a full-size Bluetooth keyboard that's like a normal one, but it just doesn't have a numpad. And I have a small Bluetooth keyboard for my
Does one of them have circle
tablets.
keys and not square keys?
No.
Okay. You sure?
Yes.
All right.
What the fuck, dude? Now, they're both meshes. I'll acknowledge that.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I wouldn't be able to stand playing the game on that, but that's because I've been spoiled with my mechanical keyboard.
Well, I think what this argument really comes down to is PC versus console. Like, really, that's what it comes down to. And to me, that also breaks down even further to the almost like the FPS argument. Mm-hmm. Like, there are a lot of people on the internet these days that are 60 FPS purists. They're like, if a game does not run at 60 FPS, I will not buy it. I will not contribute. Nobody should ever contribute to it.
I'm not that pure about it, but I can get it. Like God Eater 2, that just came out.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that on PS4 because it was 30 FPS on PS4. I got it on PC because it's 60 FPS on PC. And now I was originally getting on PS4 because that's a game I want to play with the controller. Yeah. But when I learned about 30 FPS, I was like, nope, that's not okay. Got it on PC, and I just play with the controller on my PC.
Well, the thing is, developing for... Well, okay, so developing for 30 FPS and developing for 60 FPS are two entirely different beasts.
Are you sure about that?
Huh? It depends on your build in the game, but most of the time for smaller developers, yes. So expecting
That's
60
true.
FPS out of smaller developers is kind of asinine, because you have to build for it, and you have to make a game that is programmed and can run at that length. Now, most of the time, you can downgrade that to 30 FPS if you build for 60 FPS, and it looks like trash.
Or
Because
plays
it was-
like trash.
Or plays like trash, because it wasn't built for 30 FPS.
There's a game that I would like to bring up with this, Hyperlight Drifter.
Yeah.
Did you ever play that?
No, but go ahead.
Hyperlight Drifter is on Steam. It's an indie game, and it runs at 30 FPS, and it's really good. And it has like action combat where you have to. It's skill. It's like skill-based combat. You have to dodge at the right time,
Yeah.
attack at the right time. And I feel like the 30 FPS really hinders that game. I feel like there will be like skipped frames. That's what it feels like when playing at 30 FPS, and it feels like you died to unfair reasons for that reason. I feel like if it was 60 FPS. I'd be much better off, and the combat would flow smoother.
Which is fair enough, but developing for that 60 FPS with that game would probably take so much more money and resources.
Actually, it would have
than
been
it was for
impossible
30.
for them because they made the game using Game Maker Studio.
So there
and
you
Game
go.
Maker Studio can't run games at 60 FPS.
Yeah. So you're dealing with that on a developer side. But what a lot of people don't consider is the idea of the difference between 30 and 60 FPS on a consumer level as well. The ability to hit 30 FPS on a good-looking game is so much different than being able to hit 60 FPS on a good-looking game. Like, I'm talking like to reliably hit 60 FPS with pretty much any game that comes out, I would estimate at least $800 PC. At least. And that's if you are good at this shit and do your homework.
My PC's worth about $800.
Yeah. Normal consumers will do about $1,000. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
That is a lot of money. Now, admittedly, when it comes to gamers, this tends to be our hobby. This tends to be the thing we do.
Yeah.
So we can spend $800 on the hardware. It's not like we're into metalworking or something like that. We can spend $800 on the hardware and $60 on anything that comes out that we want to do. Now, for a normal person, that's a lot. And now imagine you're playing a competitive game. Now you're dealing with the real example of hardware advantage. Someone playing Counter-Strike at 60 FPS versus somebody who can play it at 30 FPS. The 60 FPS has a hardware advantage.
Oh, yeah, 100%. But there's nothing developers could do about that.
Locking it at 30 FPS.
No, that's awful.
That's how you
that hurts the game.
That's how you could get rid of hardware advantage in a competitive environment. And
Or-
nobody likes it, including me.
Fine, then what about the opposite? What about you
Locking
can't
it at 60?
No, you can't do competitive if you're not at least 60 FPS.
Then you're locking out such a large part of your player base from being competitive.
But you're not ruining your game anymore.
Dude.
It's look.
No, I
I
can see it.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
put the game being a good game before I'm gonna put like, oh, I want to appeal to all audiences. Like
which is fair enough.
if you don't have the
Yeah.
if you don't have the hardware to play the game you like competitively, that's not the developer's fault, and the game shouldn't suffer for it.
Which is fair enough, but game developers have to sell these games.
I want
And
you to
I don't
play.
think it's-
I want you to play a few rounds of Counter-Strike on 30 FPS and then play it at 60 FPS.
Huh?
At
Well,
Reddit
I already
forums.
play it at 30 FPS.
I know, and now I want you to play it at 60.
I know the difference. Like, I'm not... Like, I've seen, like, the comparison videos, and I've done all that, and I have played
gotta
the game
feel
at
it,
60.
you gotta feel
I have played games at 60 FPS. It is entirely different. But I cannot afford an $800 machine. And I'd like to play these games with my friends and against other people online. Now, that aside, I don't really care about hardware advantage. Most of the time I'm here to play on the casual servers and not do the competitive stuff.
Fair
So I
enough.
can almost understand the idea of there are certain game modes and stuff like that that are locked out unless you have the hardware specs to match.
Is that
and put
actually a
everybody
thing
through.
that some games do?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But I'm kind of fine with that. But then you get into the issue of splitting your player base again, which I don't think is an intelligent business move.
It's not.
Like, honestly, I was actually thinking of getting Battlefield 1 on PS4 instead of getting it on PC this go-round. First off, Because I'm just going to play the base game for a month or two, or until the expansions start coming out and then drop.
Aren't you worried about not having a lot of friends to play the game with, though?
They're multiplayer servers. I mean,
I know.
there'll be people around. And
I know.
yeah, it sucks, but I doubt my computer I have now is going to run it to begin with, so I still wouldn't be able to play with
Fair
friends.
enough.
Also, I like playing games where everybody's playing by the exact same set of rules. And I want to play it with a controller. But if I play it with a controller on
PC, you're at a disadvantage.
I'm going to get fucking destroyed.
Yeah, you would be at a disadvantage.
And I guess that might be my main issue with keyboards, is there's such a skill gap whenever it comes with it in the mouse, that you could have height advantage, you could have perfect cover, you could have the greatest weapon, and you could be leading an ambush of 3 people. If that guy is better at a keyboard with a pistol and can land all of his headshots, you're just fucked.
Yeah, I agree completely that...
Like, so that it almost it's almost like the skill at the game detracts from the game itself, because the game itself is an interlocking, complex systems. It's not I can pull off the headshots no matter what gun I'm using. It should be about everything in the game you managing together, which I think is why I prefer controllers, because you have to build the game in such a way for a controller, so that happens almost naturally with, like, the subtle auto-aim. Not full auto-aim, not, like, literally aimbots, but subtle auto-aim. You have to build that right. You have to build the movement with the look and the look sensitivity and stuff like that. And you can still get better than somebody.
Yeah.
But there's a cap to how much better you can get. So, not necessarily that they can catch up, but you could use all the other interlocking systems of the game to meet with it. If he's just a better shot than you are, you can still use your movement, your cover, and you could be just a better fighter than he is, even though he's a better shot. It's like a Navy SEAL versus a old Western movie cowboy. The cowboy is 100% a better shot. But that motherfucker's standing out in the open. You don't have the best weapon for this scenario either, though. But you're up on the water tower.
Right.
So it's like, who's gonna win? The Old West Cowboy or the Navy SEAL? Honestly, I'd put my money on the Navy SEAL, but that's because motherfucking Navy SEALs. But you could see how in a slightly scoped down scenario of that, in a video game sense, how that scenario would be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Like...
And yeah, I think if you want to play Battlefield 1 with a controller, you should get it on PlayStation 4.
But
because if
it's on PS4, and I hate consoles.
You hate consoles?
I hate consoles. I think once I'm done with this generation, once we move on to what the next generation is and the 4K stuff becomes standard, I honestly think I'm done with this generation. I have an Xbox One and I have a PS4. I never play the Xbox One, and I only play the PS4 with friends.
Yeah.
And for games that I want to play, I want to play so that everyone's using a controller.
I don't have an Xbox One. I have a PS4. My PS4 is my Netflix machine, and it also I play any PS4 exclusive titles on it, like the Soul series is on
well, it's like the Neo
PC too, but I play Souls games on PS4
Yeah.
because like action games like that, those are better with controls. Bayonetta, that's better. Like that's not on PC, but Metal Gear Rising better with controller. Bayonetta's not on PC.
Oh no, it's on Xbox One. Sorry.
Yeah. What? Yeah, Bayonetta 1, not Bayonetta 2.
I thought it was Bayonetta 2.
Bayonetta 2 is the Wii U exclusive.
Oh, okay. Also, fuck exclusives. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
No, thank God for Nintendo for paying for Bayonetta 2. Thank you, Nintendo. Otherwise, we'd never had a Bayonetta 2. But yeah. But when it comes to FPS, I don't understand your preference to play with a controller. I really don't at all.
Well,
I just think...
Well, that doesn't have to do with FPS. It's just that if there's issues, whatever... If everyone starts to...
No, I meant that you said because you wanted to play Battlefield 1 with a controller.
Yeah.
You said that...
Well, I want to play it at 60... Golden Age, I want to play it... Everybody's playing with a controller at 60 FPS. That's what I want. But that's just because I almost believe that a Battlefield experience, specifically, is almost better with a controller.
See, that's why I don't agree with you.
It's not about how good you're at shooting. It's how good you can use all the interlocking systems. Counter-Strike should always be played with a keyboard.
See,
because that's how good of a shot you are.
See, it's not even just like, oh, I play with the mouse and keyboard because I can be more accurate with the mouse and keyboard. It's that first-person shooters, and that includes Battlefield, to me, feel better with a mouse and keyboard because, like, if you want a 180 in a Battlefield game or any first-person shooter game on a controller, you hold the right stick, like, right or left, and then your character does this. And for people listening, I am turning slowly around because you have to hold and turn. With a mouse, you flick your mouse and you're around, like, in an instant.
I don't like 180 mechanics, though, because if I'm behind you and I got the drop on you, I want to have the drop on you. I want you to have had to have paid the fucking attention.
Look how quick I can turn. I should be able to turn that quick in the game.
Well, they just turned your sensitivity up.
But then that ruins your precise amount of aim. How you can get headshots and things like that.
No.
See, when it comes to a controller, you have high sensitivity, you'll be able to turn quickly, look around quickly, but then aiming precisely is harder.
Well, then, with games with ADS, that they usually have separate sliders for those.
I'm sorry?
For games with ADS, they some games it should be
like
standard.
When you're zoomed in with the scope versus when
or with your iron sights. That's how design wise I'd get around that.
I mean, I guess that would make it a better experience, but
or like Counter-Strike, I think whenever you're hitting walk, your walk accuracy is different than your moving accuracy.
While that would make it a better experience, all those issues are just solved once you have. All those issues are just solved once you have a mouse and keyboard.
But again, we get back to the skill gap issue.
But if everyone's playing with a mouse and keyboard, then everybody...
we still have the skill gap issue.
I mean, you have that same skill gap with controllers. You could be better with a controller than I am with a controller.
But it's a lot narrower of a margin of a skill gap.
It's a narrow margin.
And you can still, like I said, it's because you have that innate disadvantage of not the exact preciseness of the... You know what? When you bring up the 180 issue... That's the exact issue I have with keyboards, is the fact you can physically do the 180. It basically means that if you get a hit marker once, you could turn around and do your magic voodoo powers that I've seen you do and pull off a headshot. Even though I had the better position, I snuck up on you, and I had all the advantages. You are just a fucking weird god with a keyboard. And that pisses me off, because I was playing intelligently and in a way that would... Bad Company 2.
What about it?
Bad Company 2 on the 360 is where I'm getting at with this. Because it released on the 360 before it did with the PC, and you see that exact fucking issue with it. It was a million times better on the 360 for exactly all those reasons. Bad Company 2 on a controller is a lot better than Bad Company 2 on a keyboard because you had to deal with limitations. When you don't have limitations, creativity dies.
What do you mean you had to... Oh, limitations with the controller.
Yes, those limitations are what create the interesting gameplay. Because you're like, I can't do the 360 no-scope in the air bullshit. You have to actually think... Oh god, there's a door behind me. If I'm not looking at that door, I'm gonna get shot. But there's also a door in front of me. So which door do I look at? Then you start listening to see if there's footsteps around you. Then you start trying to figure out, if I was in this situation, which door would I come from? And you use all that information to make an intelligent decision instead of, I'll stand with both of them kind of roughly in the same view, and whichever one he comes through, I'll just whip to really fast. It creates more interesting gameplay to have those limitations. Now, I'm going to go ahead and preface this and go back to, there are certain games that 100% should be about how good of a shot you are. But they're built from the ground up to be that way. If you start giving me interesting systems like how your sound works, how you have like weather effects and shit like that, everything changing, I want to be dealing with some limitations in all of these systems. So, I'm not going to sit here... You know what? I am going to make this declaration. I feel like a gamepad is a little bit better for gameplay in general, but it's not the perfect solution for everything. I do believe mouse and keyboard have their place, but I would much rather everyone be playing on the same field with the same controller. Because when you get into keyboards, which keyboard you have kind of matters. Like, because you could attest to this. You fucking hate my keyboard because it's slightly less responsive than yours.
Yeah.
But we both have Xbox One controllers for when we're playing on a PC together.
Yeah.
We're both playing with the exact same goddamn controller because it's standardized.
Okay, I can see that a bit.
Well, also think about competitions. If you tell everybody that at all competitions for X game, you'll be using X equipment.
That is how competitions work.
What if that X equipment is like couple $100 keyboards and you have kids that are gods at this game, but they haven't been able to train on those keyboards? So they have an equipment disadvantage. Instead of saying, this will all be on the Xbox 360 controller, which is maybe $20, that everyone has access to.
Well, because
Even playing field, then it's all about skill.
Yeah.
Now, that can be circumvented as well by saying, everybody, we're going to be using these relatively cheap keyboards and mice and stuff like that, so train on those.
Well, the thing is that if you learn to get good on a bad keyboard, you're still going to be good on a good keyboard. You're only going to be better. So you can learn to get good on a bad keyboard, and like you with your keyboard, even though I hate your keyboard, you could get really good with that keyboard.
I also use a trackball mouse, which pisses you off.
Yeah. Oh my god. But you could get good on the trackball mouse and the keyboard, and then when you switch to like a mechanical keyboard and get yourself a proper mouse.
Well, no, it's when I go from a trackball mouse to an optical mouse, I will be at a disadvantage because I'm used to using a trackball mouse.
Well, yeah, but you can learn to use a normal mouse.
But still, I have to spend the time mid-match learning.
Alright, what about me, who hasn't played any first-person shooters on a controller in forever? As you say, we all have the same advantage when using a controller, but I don't know how to use a controller optimally. That I can, when on a keyboard, I can 180 headshot you, like you said, but when I'm on a controller, I can't do that. And now,
But a controller is easier to learn and get the hang of than a full setup.
I don't agree with you on that. I think that if we took somebody who's not played video games before, and so they haven't played video games before, but they've definitely used a computer before, because everybody's used a computer, and we were like, here, play, I don't know, Overwatch, then they used a keyboard and mouse, they would be more familiar with it than if they held an Xbox controller. They would be like, what is it? I've seen people, I've had girlfriends who have never held a controller in their life, and they're like, what is this nonsense?
Well, you see, but I have the exact opposite experience. I hand my niece and nephew a controller, I spend maybe a minute explaining it to them, and everything's in reach and in their hands already, so they can get there and muscle memory.
While that's
but
true,
when it comes to a keyboard, it is a blank face of buttons that are all feel the same and laid out the same.
Yeah.
So unless you know what to do...
That is the only part of the keyboard that can be hard, and I had this problem for a long time, and I still have this problem with MMOs. It's like, I want to hit 5, and I'll accidentally hit 4.
Oh, God.
I want to hit 6, I accidentally hit 7. Yeah, I've had that issue. But what I mean is, I've seen people who haven't played video games have a hard time grasping the move with the left stick, look with the right stick.
I think the scenario we're running into right now is... Well, there's a control scheme for that. It's called Lefty.
No, I mean, the point is...
Anyway, yeah.
That's not the point.
Yeah, sorry, that's not the point. I feel like we have both in our lives had two entirely different experiences when trying to introduce people to video games. It has always been, to me, handing a controller to somebody rather than handing them a keyboard has always been easier. And it was probably the exact opposite for you.
Well, either way, this is definitely a topic that I want to talk about again. But this shouldn't...
I feel like we've said everything we needed to say.
This debate should not have been on According to Chord. So let's call it here.
This should have been head-to-head.
We'll say it. It is what it is. You have your preferences, I have mine, and we're all still friends because we're not jerks.
I know where you sleep.
So yeah, this is wrapping up According to Chord. Be sure to visit our website.
GAMECACE.com.
So that's GameCase, but not spelled C-A-S-E, it's spelled C-A-C-E.
Alrighty, and make sure to leave a comment right below and to visit our website, visit our forums, and leave any questions you want to ask me. They can be about literally anything.
Leave the question in the forums, leave the question in the comments. I don't really care. Leave it anywhere you want. I prefer the forums, but if you want to leave it
Put in a letter, send it by one of those big Bernards in one of the casks.
I hope you don't know where we live, so it'll be hard sending a letter, but you know, the internet's fucked place. So
leave it by the dumpster with the Coke.
You could probably figure out which dumpster he means, because the internet's fucked.
He knows, and she knows. Everybody knows what dumpster I like.
Anyway, this has been According to Chord, and I will talk to you next time.
All right, see you later, guys. I do not hate you all.